Hello and good evening to the Hughes at 10 every night through lockdown. I'm still here. I can't believe it. Hello to everyone who's there. We've got Charlie, we've got Attila, we've got Paul, David, Don, Stephen, David again, Charlie, Alex and Chris. Brilliant. Thank you for coming along. I don't know really where to start today. So we found out that Christmas has been saved, and Christmas is going to be saved by us. I'm only smiling because this is just so mad. Like, Christmas is going to be saved by us relaxing the lockdown rules for a few days so that we can see our elderly relatives. I don't know if that's particularly good advice, considering there's a killer disease that's roaming around the world at the moment. It's already killed well over 1 million people worldwide, 250,000 people in the US, 50,000 at least in the UK, maybe up to 70,000 if you include excess deaths. I don't know if we should be meeting up at Christmas. The Jews weren't allowed to meet up on Rosh Hashanah or Pesach. The Muslims weren't allowed to meet up in Eid. I don't think the Diwali festivals went ahead. Why? I get that there is going to be people who will flaunt the rules anyway, but I thought that it was a damn good reason to maybe not have to spend Christmas with your in-laws. Hashtag just saying. But oh well, we can now, and you can bring 3 families together, apparently, I think. I couldn't quite make out what Boris Johnson was saying this afternoon because his audio wasn't working. Good job that never happens to me, eh? Anyway, David saying, God doesn't do revenge. Oh, mate, you really need to read the Old Testament. He does nothing but revenge. But if he did, which he does, I'm sure Trump and Giuliani's sons would get COVID-19. Oops, indeed. Yeah, so both Donald Trump Jr. and Giuliani Jr. have both got COVID. They'll probably be all right because they're young and fairly healthy, but still, it's not a nice thing to have. I'm drinking me tea here. I still can't taste this bloody tea. I'm going to keep drinking tea until I can taste it. Evening, John. And Plum Duff is there. We've got Pete Robbins as well. Christmas means Christmas. Yes. Damp, cold, miserable January. Possibly the worst time for lockdown 3. Yep, I'll go with that. I think that the fact that we've got the vaccine on the horizon, we've got 3 different vaccines now on the horizon, means that I'd just like everything to be pushed back a little bit. So it's like, yeah, okay, we'll see everyone again, and we'll all have a big day of reunification where we can all get together again and have all our parties once we're all vaccinated, or at least once the most vulnerable people are vaccinated. So I'm a little bit, I don't know, I get it, because in my situation, you know, my dad, the way he is, I don't think he's going to make another Christmas if he makes this one. So that gives it an extra sort of push towards we should spend Christmas together. But at the same time, it's like, I don't want to be the person who gives him COVID-19. But having said that, he's already had COVID-19. So it's a bit of a moral maze, a bit of a moral dilemma. Sugar Free is saying, I'm really starting to miss hanging out with people. Sugar Free, I'm there. I'm really missing just, going to the pub. When we were allowed to go to the pubs again, it wasn't like I was really sort of craving it because it was summer. I could go out, I could go for a walk, go for a bike ride or something. But now it's the winter months and it's coming up to Christmas. Yeah, I'm missing not seeing me mates and not going to the pub and doing all that. And I really get it. I do. But at the same time, we've got to be responsible, and we can't just go, oh, no. You had the weird spectre of Steve Baker, Brexit hardman Steve Baker, who is an ex-officer from the army. And he was saying that he was going to read, he was reading the European Convention on Human Rights. I was like, that's quite interesting, considering from coming from such an ardent Brexiteer, you're going, save us, Europe, save us from these nasty British people making us have Christmas alone. But Yeah, John Barleycorn saying, I would not be surprised if there's another peak after Christmas and the government wind up trying to blame Santa for being a super spreader who should have been self-isolating. Yes, Santa. Grrr. It's the worst. Plum Duff saying, I don't trust the vaccine has ever seen the Constant Gardener movie. Watch it. Yeah, Constant Gardener. That was just mentioned on University Challenge. Were you watching University Challenge, Plum Duff? It was the answer to one of the questions. John le Carrier novel from 2000. Really good movie with Rachel Weisz and Colin Firth, I want to say, I think. Really good movie. But these vaccines have got to be safe because there's no messing around here. It is literally a life and death situation. And we can't be running around going, oh, only 1% of people die because, forgive my maths here, but isn't 1% of 1% of was it what are we, 7 billion now we're on the planet? 7 billion. Isn't 1% of that 70 million? So 70 million people dying of COVID-19. I'm sorry, that's too much. That's just too much. That's more than the entire population of England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland put together. 70 million. I can't handle that. So no, I think it's the way to go. And I would have volunteered for getting to see if the vaccine worked. I'm not. As far as sort of new treatments for diseases and things, usually when you're a guinea pig, you've got a disease, and it's kind of like, well, they're trialing this and it might work, and you might end up getting a placebo, but not a placebo, just a sugar pill. Yeah, I tried to give my platelets. I spoke about this last week. I was like, I'm going to go and give some platelets because I've had COVID, and I went up to the Newcastle Blood Donor Centre on Sunday. And got all the way there. Free parking, though, which is good. Free parking, the blood donation centre. And I went in and they pricked my finger, which I hate them doing, to test for your iron. Then they asked me a load of questions about where I've been in the last year. And I was like, nowhere. And they're like, have you had a tattoo? And I'm like, I don't think I could have got one even if I wanted one. And then they were like, okay, we've got to check your veins. So they checked my veins on my arm here and then on my arm here. And they were like, your veins aren't good enough. Sorry, you can give blood, that's fine. But because platelets work, they take your blood out, they spit it round, take the platelets out, and then they put the blood back into you. You need a really good vein for them to get in and out of. So apparently I don't have the right veins. So not very attractive to vampires, which is probably a good thing, the basis of it all. Redundant Squash is saying, plus their success depends on a working track and trace system, which we don't have. Yeah, it's true. Attila says it'll all end in tears, and he means like tier 3 and tier 2. But you can also call them the Brexiteers when the Brexit people start crying because they can't go on holiday anymore because it's too expensive, or the factory shuts down. Now, this is the rumor today. It was all over Twitter. So, there was a German car magazine that did an interview, and I don't know how reliable this is as a source, but they were like, yeah, Nissan's leaving Sunderland, pretty much. It was very heavily hinted. And in one way, I'm like, yeah, of course, because that's exactly what Nissan said they were going to do at the beginning of the year, where they said, if it's going to cost us more to sell our products, our cars, 75% of the cars made in Sunderland go to the EU. If there's going to be a tariff on that because of a no-deal Brexit, then selling the cars stops being profitable for them from the UK, so they'll move their plants somewhere else. Or they might just downsize it and then only make 25% of their output, of their of their usual output, and that'll just be for the domestic market. So we could see, I think, 27,000 people are employed in Sunderland in one way or another, connected to the Nissan plant. That's obviously the downstream as well. And yeah, a big chunk of them are going to lose their jobs, and it's horrible. And it's horrible. And there's that push and pull of going, I want to say I told you so. I want to say I told you so. And it's like, but it's really horrible for the people who are lied to and told that this leaving the EU would make their lives so much better. And no one's talking about leaving the single market. That's a direct quote. No one's talking about leaving the customs union. No one's saying your rights won't change, that you traveling to other countries won't change, your status won't change as EU citizens living here. And you're like, okay, so you lied about everything. Absolutely everything. All of it. Tom Monk's correcting me. It was Ray Fiennes, wasn't it, in The Constant Gardener? Do you know what I'm doing there? It was Ray Fiennes, and Ray Fiennes. It was, and I'm getting it mixed up with The Quiet American because it's a something, and obviously that's Graham Greene novel that was adapted, and I think it's got Brendan Fraser in it as the American, maybe, and it's got Colin Firth in it. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just so behind with my movies at the moment. I feel like all my movie knowledge has kind of fallen out of my head in the last few years. I used to be right on it. David saying, vaccine, great news, but because we have pushed it out quickly means there'll be no long-term dangers known from it. Yeah, I know, David, that's something that a lot of people have spoken about, the long-term dangers of it, but from my understanding of at least one of the vaccines, it's not actually an active vaccine. It's effectively they're putting a shell of it doesn't have an active virus inside it. It's just the shape. So the shape of the protein or the RNA of COVID. So basically, your body knows to attack that particular shape if it comes into your body again. Look, I'm no scientist. I'm probably getting this all wrong, but from what I understood, it wasn't like you were being injected with an active virus or small amount of a virus in order to protect you from getting a big chunk of it. Okay, I've just missed a bit there. Too Much 77 has been donating platelets for a decade now. If you can, please donate. Yeah, I would, but I can't. So, but I'll continue giving blood. That's no problem. Dave saying, did your entire household contract COVID, Graham? Any idea how you got it, mate? Yeah. Dave, I got it, and my mum got it, and my dad got it. And the reason why was at the beginning, I've explained this on another video, but I'll just run through it quickly again. End of August, my dad stopped eating. He's got vascular dementia. This is something that happens sometimes with vascular dementia patients. They stop eating, stop feeding themselves. So I was trying to get him to eat. And I went to Liverpool to help, and eventually we got him eating again, but he had a blood test, and they said your kidneys are failing, and we had to rush him to the hospital, and he was in hospital for 2 weeks. And then I stayed in Liverpool. I actually came back to Durham while he was in hospital, and then once he was out of hospital, I came back to Liverpool, and I stayed there I was planning to stay there for a couple of weeks. To help my mum, because at this point my dad was now pretty much bedbound, immobile. He wasn't getting out of bed. He wasn't walking around. We couldn't get him up the stairs to have a shower. And as a result, we had a team of care workers coming 4 times a day. It will be a different team each day, and they'll come to our house, go to someone else's house, go to someone else's house, go to someone else's house, and then come back to ours. Basically, they were wearing minimum PPE. Me and my mum hadn't been anywhere. My mum and dad had been basically locked down. My dad had a COVID test before he left hospital, so he didn't get it in hospital. They wouldn't let him out until he tested negative, and there was no problem. And actually leaving hospital, he was only supposed to be there for a few days, but it was delayed because of the COVID tests and things. Anyway, so I got to my mum and dad's, and I was only there for a few days, and we had these care workers coming each day. And they're just wearing the paper masks, just no face shields, no proper kits. They didn't seem to have disposable stuff that they just threw away after each visit. And this is a private company, by the way. This isn't the NHS. It's a private company that the NHS pay to look after people who are need end of life care. And we all got it. We all got it. And it was ridiculous. I mean, it was like a farce. I downloaded the app, and my mum went for a test. It took 4 days to get the test results. It came back positive. I was like, shit, I better put this into my app to say I've got it. And it won't let you unless you've got a code, which you can only get if you got a positive test result. So I'm like, Well, that doesn't make much sense. I can understand the problem with hypochondriacs. Just going, oh, I've got it. But if you live with someone and you have symptoms, there should be a way of inputting that fact so it can then contact anyone that you may have come in contact with several days before symptoms started. So, but you can't do that. So I immediately went for a test. I got a home test for me dad. By the way, when you apply for a COVID home test, you have to give your details, which I think includes your NHS number and your national insurance number, to an American company called TransUnion, who are a credit rating agency. Nothing to worry about. These are the people. These are the same politicians that brought you Cambridge Analytica and Vote Leave. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. Dominic Cummings. Anyway, my dad's test comes back after 4 days, and he's got it. My test comes back, it says negative, and I'm like, bollocks, is this negative? I feel like shit. I've got no taste. I've got no smell. I've got it. My mum's got it. My dad's got it. And so I went for another test, and that test again another 4 days. So it was over 2 weeks before I got the test result that I could put into the app that would contact the people who I had been in contact with a few days before contracting COVID, and it wouldn't, because it was just too late. It was like, yeah, okay. I'm like, what do I do? Do I have to wait another 2 weeks since my positive test result came through? Because it says it's only 2 weeks since the beginning of symptoms. It's just so badly managed, badly put together. And then I found out that the nurses who come to the house, the care workers, none of them are tested. They are now. They've just changed the rules and said they have to be tested every week. But back in September, back in October, they weren't being tested. So this protective ring that they're supposed to have put around old people in homes who are vulnerable, I don't know, old people who are 83 years old with vascular dementia, yeah, didn't exist. In fact, the government set it up so that care workers would possibly inadvertently walk into people's houses and bring COVID into their houses, and there was nothing you could do about it. You couldn't say, well, sorry, you can't come in because you've got a guy in bed who needs attention, And I thought the whole thing was absolutely disgraceful. A few of the nurses actually had face shields, and I asked them, did the company give you them? And no, we had to buy them ourselves, to buy them. And if they wanted any tests, they had to privately get a test. And over was it 300 care workers have died of COVID-19 because it doesn't just kill old people. So yeah, absolutely disgraceful. The handling of this epidemic, the handling of this crisis, it's just been done by talentless amateurs, absolute amateurs, and it pisses me off that we have so many clever, astute, professional managers of situations, and they've all been pushed aside for the mates of politicians, for your Kate Binghams and your Dido Hardings, and these horse-faced fuckers who are just like put into these positions of power because they're mates with someone, not because of their talent, not because of what they can do, not for what they can bring to the table, but because of what school they went to and what university they went to and who their chums were in university and who they slept with and who they like having dinner parties with. And it's just, this is what happens. We've now got 70,000 people dead as a result. It's no longer funny. It's no longer, isn't living in a democracy hilarious? We have a queen. No, it's not hilarious. If you have incompetent people in power during a crisis, people die. And that has always been the way since the beginning of time. And this is why monarchies always fell apart, because you'd have a good king or a good queen who was kick-ass, and then they'll be followed by their kid who was possibly inbred and who was completely useless, who just wasn't up to the job. And this isn't just modern kingdoms in the last 1,000 years. It's going back to Babylonian times, going back to the ancient Greeks, going back to Egypt, ancient Egypt, 4000 BC. It's always been the case. You've had these situations where you've been trucking along for ages, and then suddenly some idiot gets in charge, and the whole thing falls apart. The whole civilization falls apart because of one idiot, and now that idiot is in charge of Britain. And this is why the UK is circling the drain. Right, I'm going to jump back into your comments. Sorry, I went on a bit of a monologue there, which I have a tendency to do. But Dave, yeah, that's the answer to that question. John Barleycorn, we can't be saying "told you so" next year. We need to be asking whether unicorns we promised are. We need to be demanding. That's a good point, John. We need to be demanding our unicorns. Where are our sunlit uplands? You said it was going to be better. You lied, because then we might get Brexiteers on our side. Hashtag just saying. Sugar Free said, I've been commenting on Brexit channels, watching them. That bogus will throw them under the bus if it suits them. No one ever replies. Yep. Boris's bus is well known for having people thrown under it, unless they're their favourite politicians who they're mates with, and obviously they can't get rid of, even if they're found guilty of bullying people to the brink of suicide, like Shitty Patel. Darren Christian, condemnation for the con men, compassion for the cons. Yeah, I know. Well, I'd like to see like a hefty prison sentence for the con men, and compassion for the cons a little bit. I'm not bubbling over with it, to be honest with you, the way I've been spoken to and treated over the last few years. Again, I said this the other week, but it does still smart that people I've known all my life, my friends, family, voted to leave because they believed Nigel Farage over me. And I'm sorry, I find that really hard to get over. I do. And I know people watch that and go, "You narcissist, you egotistical maniac." But no, at the end of the day, they knew me. They knew I wouldn't lie to them. They trusted a con man. They trusted an absolute out-and-out shyster, privately educated, city banker, career politician, a man who has no values whatsoever except what's good for Nigel Farage. They trust Nigel. They trusted Boris Johnson, who could just describe in exactly the same way. Instead of being a city banker, he was a hack columnist. Not even a journalist. A journalist writes news and reports on the news. A columnist just writes what they think. No, it's just like, it's like the shittest level of journalism. It's junk journalism. It's not worth. Then again, I'm here now, basically telling you what I think. So possibly not one to talk. Dave Oram says, worked at Nissan 25 years ago. A ship carrying parts couldn't dock at time one time. It was cheaper for the supplier to helicopter parts from the ship to the factory than to pay the penalties for stopping line. Wow. Same with Airbus in North Wales. What do they expect? Airbus is an EU registered company. Yeah, absolutely true, Alex. Dave Monk saying, "Oh, Quiet American, great movie. That was Michael Caine. Lol." Oh, for God's sake, was Colin Firth in any of these bloody movies? I'm sure he was in a movie where he was like, I don't know, he was like the hapless stooge or something. Must be getting it mixed up with something else. And I bet it was called The Something Something. The Crying Game. No. John B. Craddock said, including diagnostic can be therapeutic isotopes. They can't be stockpiled. Oh, my messages just jumped, as they occasionally do. I'm going to skip to John Barleycorn here saying, I've not seen my parents in over a year. They're over 75. I don't care what the rules say. I'm not driving 100 miles to see them if there's a chance I could wind up giving them COVID. Yeah, John, I think you are right on the money there. And if I wasn't in a position where I had to be with my mum to help her, if the care workers aren't there all night, if my dad fell out of his bed, he's in a hospital bed in the living room. If he fell out the bed, there's nothing my mum could have done about it. Whereas if I'm there, at least I can help pick him up and stuff. Plum Duff says, if we were the Titanic, how far have we sunk? We haven't hit the iceberg yet. I don't think. I think they're telling us that if we hit the iceberg, then everything will be awesome. Like the ship will be improved. It'll go faster and it'll be a better colour if it hits the iceberg. So we've all got to just basically full pelt towards the iceberg, maximum damage, because by causing the maximum amount of damage, that's how you get faster to America. You might get Guinness World Record out of it. Not that that existed in 1912, but whatever. Rebecca D's waving. Hi, Rebecca. Is that Rebecca D from Vancouver? Hi. John B. Craddock says 30% of all new, more than 30% of all new medicines are biomedicine. Storage conditions and usage times are critical, and we import a vast majority from the EU. We have lost the EMA guarantee, that's the European Medicals Agency or Authority, guarantee of efficient and speedy delivery. Yeah, along with everything else that we've lost. I mean, it's not the worst possible time to have a no-deal Brexit is in the middle of winter during a global pandemic when we really, really need vaccines, or people will die unnecessarily. But so many people have died unnecessarily already in this country because of the idiots in charge. On the plus side, I've got a reason not to see my mother-in-law on Christmas Day from UK Chill. Yeah, I made that joke a little bit earlier. Oh yes, it is Rebecca D from Canada. Hey, how you doing, Rebecca? It's good to see you virtually through my camera, obviously. Paul Mason saying, I've dropped bombs on Brexit YouTube channels and have not had replies. Yeah, a lot. I think that a lot of the Brexit people are bots. I mean, it's funny how they sort of have waves of them. Whenever there's something going on, like the EU elections or local elections or general election, the bots just go through the roof. I mean, the responses, everyone's at you. Everyone's like, oh, well. But then when that goes away, you can write the most outrageous things and no one questions it. No one comes back to you, oh, how could you say that about Brexiteers? And there's no pearls that are clutched, which I don't understand, because you're kind of like, well, hang on, you were upset about this the other day and now you're not. Oh, okay. Maybe you're a bot. Usually you just click on the, what is it, botornot.com, and you can, there's also Bot Sentinel, that's a good one, to check whether someone that you're actually bothering replying to, see if they're actually real. And I feel like if the picture on Twitter is of a cat or a tree or a motorbike or a fish, and they don't have a human name, I don't really see that you should. I get pulled into it sometimes. I don't feed the trolls, but generally speaking, there's a good chance that they're not actually a real person. They're just someone who's literally paid to waste your time on Twitter or Facebook or whatever. David says, oh, sorry, hang on. Tom Monk says, I had lunch with people who want to argue the death numbers are inaccurate. People are dying car wrecks and being listed as COVID deaths. Oh, Jesus. In fact, car deaths are right down. Flu deaths are down. Deaths across for things that are usually people die of are down because people aren't dying of them because they're dying of bloody COVID instead. And there's less cars on the road and less pollution and less, I don't know, respiratory diseases, I guess. People maybe, I was going to say people are probably drinking less, but that's a lie, isn't it? People are drinking more. Yeah. Ever decreasing circles, David says, Carl Bernstein has named 21 Republican senators who have privately expressed extreme contempt for Trump. Won't be long till he's out of it. Lol. Well, I was watching before because Michigan's supposed to be validating the votes today, aren't they? Or is it validating? There's got another term for it. But basically, there's 4 people. This is how mad this gets. It's like the football, the guys who decide on the rules of football. I don't know if you know about this, but FIFA doesn't decide the rules of football. If you want to change the rules, you want to change the offside rule, or you want to bring in the VAR technology, you have to go to, I think it's just called the football board or something like that. And there's 5 members on this board, right? And they are the English FA, the Scottish FA, the Welsh FA, the Northern Irish FA, and FIFA, which represents the other 200 countries in FIFA. But FIFA gets 4 votes. So if FIFA wants to do something, it can't do it alone. It needs the vote of the Northern Irish Football Association. Yeah. Or the Welsh Football Association, and then they can change the rules of football for the world. So in a similar way, in Michigan, where Biden has won by, I think, 160,000, correct me if I'm a bit out there, 160,000 votes, it comes down to 4 people, and they have to vote to allow the election to be validated and the state to vote for Biden, who won the election. 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans. And one of the Republicans has said, oh, well, I spoke to Trump and he said there's something amiss here and he always tells the truth. So I don't know if I'm going to certify the results. And I'm like, For the love of God, this is what happens when you run a 21st century democracy on a piece of paper that was written in the 1780s. Anyway, calm down, Graham. Kids are in bed. Where am I next? Plum Duff. I had a dream. I woke up and Gove was in my bedroom eating a cheese. What the hell does it mean? Oh my God, that would be a nightmare for me. When I joined the Lib Dems back in 2017, I only joined them because Jeremy Corbyn came to me in a dream and told me to join the Lib Dems. And now I realise after the performance of the Lib Dems last year, where Joe Swinson just absolute idiot and went, yeah, let's have an election. Even in my dreams, Corbyn was facilitating the Conservatives to have a whopping great majority and the hardest Brexit imaginable. Yeah, great. Thanks a bunch, Corbyn. John saying, including diagnostic and therapeutic isotopes. Oh, whoa, got out more messages. Whoopsies. Farage told people what they wanted to hear. Typical con man. Can't discuss Brexit with my parents due to their xenophobic views. Never knew about this beforehand. So sad. Bridget Jones. Yes, he was Darcy in Bridget Jones and in Pride and Prejudice. Okay, let's stop talking about Colin Firth. Maybe it was Mamma Mia. I don't know. It was something like. Am I getting Mamma Mia mixed up with The Constant Gardener? Am I? I need more sleep. I tell you, that's the problem. I can't discuss. I was read that one. Firth was in Tumbledown. Have any of your friends and family seen The Light, Graham? No, I don't think so. I don't. Oh yeah. Actually, no. Yeah, no. There's a few people in my family who have said if they had to vote again, they'll vote to remain now. And to be honest with you, I didn't have that many friends who voted for it. Only really a handful. I think most of my friends, and I know this sort of echo chamber thing, but most of my friends are centrists. They're either a little bit right. I've got some soft conservative friends who are conservatives against Brexit, I guess. But a lot more of my friends are more likely to be Labour. I've probably argued actually with my friends more. So with my family, I think I've argued with them more about Brexit. My friends, I think I've argued with them more about Corbyn because I've disliked him since the start. And everyone's gone, Graham, give him a chance. I'm like, how many chances do you give someone? He lost the referendum. He lost 2 general elections. He lost the EU election. He lost 3 local elections. How much rope? How much? Wasn't Colin Firth. Stop talking about Colin Firth. Let's get Brexit done. Let's get the iceberg done. Thomas Page, I like that. Johnny Nasser says, I saw a video that Bill Cash made the day before the referendum. He blamed the EU and the far right. For the far right? Oh, that's rich, isn't it? Oh, yeah, it's all the EU's fault that the far right exists. What should we do? I know. Let's listen to the far right. What would you like to do? Leave the EU. I hate immigrants. I hate refugees. Okay, let's do what they want to do. Let's do what every racist in the country wants to do. Let's do what every xenophobe in the country wants to do. Let's do what every dickhead who can't tie their own shoelaces wants to do, because that'll make it turn out great. I had a great quote, and I don't think it was from Christopher Hitchens, but I think it was someone that Christopher Hitchens was interviewing or chatting with, and he said, we've got to stop organising the needs of the village around the wants of the village idiot. That's such a great quote. Like, can we just stop asking the idiot what they want? Because they're not going to give you a coherent answer. And if you try and do what they want, they're just going to moan about it anyway. It's like, ovs. I hate Mark Francois. I do as well, Plum Duff. I really, really hate Mark Francois. The only thing about him that I like is that he's dead short and he's obviously really upset about it. That's why he fantasizes about being Action Man in his head. But yeah, a horrible, horrible human being, and potentially a rapist. We don't know he's a rapist, because the Parliament of the UK passed a law 2 years ago saying that if an MP is arrested for any crime, no matter how bad, they're not allowed to tell anyone that they've been arrested, and they can continue doing their job. Now, if it was you and you were a teacher in a school, or even a caretaker in a school, and you had been accused of rape, and you were been arrested, and you were going to stand trial, you would be suspended. Straight up. If you worked in McDonald's, you would be suspended. If you were the CEO of a big company, you would be suspended. But British parliamentarians above the fucking law, and they get to get away with it. So we don't know who the Tory rapist is. We just know that some former minister has been accused of rape and is going to stand trial. We can't talk about it officially. We can't put it in the newspapers. And nobody has seen Mark Francois since August. So he's either the hide-and-seek champion of 2020, or he's dead, or he's the one. But he's still voting. He is still voting in the House of Commons. How is he still voting, I hear you ask? Well, he is still voting by proxy vote. Someone else is voting on his behalf, which is something you're only supposed to be able to do if you've been exposed to COVID, or you've got a life-threatening disease, or you've got cancer or something. Oh, no, hang on. No. If you've got cancer and you can't come into the House, you can't take part in the debate, because Jacob Rees-Mogg is the guy in charge of the House, the House of Commons, and he sets the rules, and he thinks that it's the 1830s because he's a massive twat. And so even if you're having a debate on breast cancer and you've got breast cancer, like one Tory MP was this week, you're not allowed to go to the debate. Brilliant. I think the Daily Express are bots. Yeah, we need bots. We need a bot farm. We need troll farms. This is what we should have been spending our money on. I don't know what the hell project, no, what was it called? The People's Vote. The People's Vote people, run by Kevin Rudd, that's the Australian Prime Minister. Some Amber Rudd's brother, wasn't it? I've forgotten his name. I never met him. I never met him on any of the marches, any of the rallies that we did, nothing. And they just seem to swallow up all these donations, millions and millions of pounds in donations. I don't know where the fuck it went. I was like, give me a tiny amount of that, and I will put a team together whose job it is to flood the internet with the truth, with truth bombs, with really beautifully made memes and everything. Like, no, sorry, we need this money to, because what we're going to do is, although I'm not having a dig at Best for Britain here, but a lot of money was spent on opinion polling. And opinion polling is expensive. You have to pay people to ask the questions. You have to pay people to collate the data and make it all work. Basically, they wanted to poll all of the Labour constituencies to find out how they felt about Brexit after we'd activated Article 50. And the majority of constituencies said that they would like to remain. Now, thank you very much. And all of this, all of that money, those millions and millions of pounds spent on surveys, wasn't there to try and convince and educate and amuse the population of the UK in ways that memes and little funny videos, the stuff that Femi does, the stuff that Mike Galsworthy does, fantastic stuff. No, none of that. We're just going to try and get all these opinion polls so we can convince one senile elderly old gentleman who was privately educated and was a career politician, and oh god, yes, I'm talking about Jeremy Corbyn, because of course I fucking am. Basically, it was all that money that was donated to a lot of the Remain causes, the national ones, not the grassroots ones, but the national ones, was spent on opinion polling to convince Jeremy Corbyn to change his mind about Brexit, and he never did. You know, even at the end, he was like, oh yeah, what we're going to do is going to have another referendum on the Tory deal. No. We're going to go to the EU. We're going to do another withdrawal agreement, and then we're going to have a referendum on that. But I'm not going to tell you whether I'm going to be for it or against it. Great leadership, mate. Great. Absolutely fantastic leadership. Put this guy in charge of the world, man. I mean, you know, can you imagine him making these tough decisions? What should we do? What should we do? There's been an earthquake and we need people rescuing. Oh, do they really need rescuing? I mean, we could just sit here and do nothing for 4 years. How does that sound? Does that sound good? Seamus, should we just sit here and Anyway, right, Winnie the Pooh, Mark Francois. No, Winnie the Pooh is Xi Jinping, isn't he? The leader of China. He hates the fact that people compare him to Winnie the Pooh, and if you do that in China, you get into lots of trouble. So don't do it if you're in China. If you're elsewhere, that's fine. We're back to the Titanic analogy. We are scraping the paint on the bow, hitting it hard on January the 1st. All the sensible people have got on the helicopter and left. Hey, it's a modern Titanic. Hey, what's the Titanic and the Sixth Sense got in common? I see dead people. Okay, I won't quit the day job. Right, DIY deaths probably up a bit. Yeah. Chris Kopak, some more on Twitter said they don't need to learn anything from the EU and they're happy to leave the EU. He had the profile pic of a dog. Did you talk about the George Monboy? I don't know how to say that. It's a Monboy article on food shortages. No, I haven't read the article. You know what? I think I may have shared it without reading it, which is something that I try not to do. But I think I was in a rush, and I was like, yeah, I read the first bit, and I was like, yeah, this is going to happen. I better let people know. But yeah, I would like to come back to that because obviously, what type of food shortages we're going to face if we have no deal is different to the types of food shortages that we're going to face if we have a deal. But we're going to suffer food shortages either way. Remember, Boz said, "Fuck business, what a moron." That's what our Prime Minister said. Prime Minister who's never ran a business, never been a business person, never been an entrepreneur because he didn't need to, because he was born into so much money. He was like Scrooge McDuck. Let's call him Scrooge McFuck. And he used to swim in big, I don't know, coins of gold. That was his childhood. It was just paddling around in coins of gold and laughing at the common folk for being so pliable and doff cap, tug forelock. There's a light in the dark plague-infested tunnel. Half of Europe is the same boat. Captain and crew have no clue what to do. Passengers left to their own devices see shadows in the mist. That's very true. It's like we knew that if we have any, we've known for ages, haven't we? Any big events, whether it's JFK being assassinated, man landing on the moon, Princess Diana's death. Oh my God, Princess Diana was only 36 when she died. She was only 36, people. I mean, we were watching The Crown, and I was like, oh yeah, blah blah blah. She was only really young when she married Prince Charles, you know, blah blah blah. And I went, you know, I looked it up to see what the age gap was, and it was 12 years, I think. And yeah, it said died age 36, and I'm like, for fuck's sake, what? She was there. Oh my God, I feel like granddad. I feel like the oldest person in the world. It's that thing, isn't it? When you are, you start getting older, and the first thing is bloody footballers are younger than you. In my case, it was Michael Owen and Wayne Rooney, a bit younger than me. They're playing for England, and then as you get built, policemen, when police officers and women are younger than you. The one for me was when I was I went to Israel, across the border. And the girl who stamped me in was like 18. She's like 18 years old, and she was deciding whether I could come into the country or not. And she was asking me all these questions to ascertain whether I was a terrorist or not, coming in over the Appleby Bridge from Jordan at the time. I was like, oh my God. And then as you get older, it gets worse because you suddenly find that politicians are younger than you. And that's it. I mean, you're over the hill. You're on the scrap heap. Logan's Run had the right idea. 30 years old, just send them up into the sky. That's it. You're done for. Anyway, yeah, Logan's Run. I'm probably getting that mixed up with something else, but never mind. Right. I'll just skip the line of messages. Opinion polls should be banned during elections. How many people don't turn out to vote if they think the result is a foregone conclusion? Yeah, I don't know, John, about that. I think that in any given election, it's like the rule of thirds, like photography. Rule of thirds. third of people don't vote. They don't care. Not interested. If you can get some of them out, like they did in the EU referendum, you're doing well. A third of people are just absolute arseholes who just look after themselves, and a third of people care about other people. It is about getting your people out rather than beating the other side or getting people to change their minds, because getting people to change their mind is nigh on impossible, even if you are the really, really good mates with someone. And I've said this line 100 times before, but it's the equivalent. If you're trying to get someone who's well into Brexit and thinks Brexit is a really fucking good idea, if you want to try and stop them from thinking that way and to see that it's not going to be that great, it is the equivalent of saying to someone who's in love with someone who's absolutely toxic, you're in love with a wrong 'un. Or even worse, you've married a wrong 'un. How do you tell your friends that? How do you say that to a friend? You know, your missus is a nutter. You're in love with a psycho. I don't know, you could play them the songs, couldn't you? Anyway, Mike's not saying you can never slag Corbyn. No, I can't. No, never. I would never. I would beyond my programming. Pete Robin says Bridget Jones's Diary, a great Christmas film to watch all the family on Christmas Day after finishing off the Christmas pud. Bridget Jones's Diary is an interesting movie because it's one of the few films that I can think of, apart from Dreaming of Joseph Lee's and don't know, there's another one where I literally hate every single character in it. Every one of them is just really, really unlikable. And if I met them in real life, I'd be like, yeah, see you later. They just all wind me up. They just all irritate the crap out of me. Then I'm feeling this a lot with The Crown, actually, because everyone in it is unlikable. They're just whinging all the time. Whinge. Oh, it's so tiresome. It's so tiresome. And I'm like, you're rich. You can do what the hell you like. And they're like, oh, I'm so restricted by my upbringing. And these people are just having parties, shagging their way around the world, doing what the fuck they like, and they're whinging about it. You know, it's like, what? Yeah. Anyway, got sick of Corbyn beginning every sentence with, I've been very clear, and then chatting bull crap. That's from Chris Kopak. Yeah, you're right. I've been very clear. And then he just rambled. It was like the perfect oxymoron, wasn't it? It was like, I've been very clear. And you're like, that wasn't very clear, Jeremy. It wasn't very clear. No, we got the same food shortages, deal or no deal. Oh, okay. Well, let me have a look into that UK chill, because, yeah, I know we're going the certain foods are just going to be harder to get, cost more. Steve Oran, problem with Brexit is that only a supremely competent government could ever deliver it, but such a government would never allow it to happen. Yep, that is the paradox of Brexit, isn't it? Yeah, you'd have to be really smart to get it to work, but if you're really smart, you wouldn't do it in the first place. UK Chill said the governments have left it too late to sort out haulage. Yes. So, and it's like they need something like 47,000 licenses, and the EU licenses, they've only issued a couple of thousands. It's ridiculous. Whoa. Okay. Oh yes, everyone's got to smash the like button. Thanks, Jim Bob. Jim Bob's just reminded me, if you're watching this right now, I want you to just hit the like button, the thumbs up button now. It will make your life so much better. It will improve everything. It will make your life more colorful, more exciting. It will improve your sex life. You will win an Oscar. You will win an Emmy. You will win a Grammy. You will win a Nobel Prize. Everything will come to you if you just press the thumb up there. Okay, right. Sorry. Tory MP mode deactivated. Ooh. Right, back to reality. But please hit the like. Get your Irish passports, lads. Yeah, thanks, here. Darian says, yep, hit the thumbs up button. Yep, okay, good. This is good. Don't worry, Graham, you'll stop minding when you hit 50 or so. Oh, God. Do you know what? I said to my dad the other day when we were watching the two popes, and the older pope is younger than me dad, and I said, that's the end, isn't it? When the pope is younger than you. You're stuffed. He just chuckled. Blinken seems a good choice for Secretary of State. Yeah, this is Biden's Secretary of State is a guy called Blinken, who is a fluent francophone, I think, which bodes well for the future of English relations with Anglo-American relations. He grew up. I think he grew up in France, or he grew up in a French-speaking place. Interesting choice of Secretary of State. Interesting. All of our ministers in the UK are secretaries of state. You're the Secretary of State for Education, Secretary of State for blah blah blah. The American Secretary of State is the Foreign Minister, but it's just different names. It's a weird way of doing it. Colin Firth was great in Logan's Run. Shut up. That was Jenny Agutter and Basil Exposition from Austin Powers. Don't worry about it, Austin. You just have a good time. Logan's Run, but rather floating them in an arena, let them all non-productive parties get a virus. Yes, it seems like that's what they've done. So it's written, shagging their way around the world. New challenge, Graham. New. Not joking. Can we forget about Corbyn? Yes, please. That would be awesome. Geography is Brexit's nemesis. It is. And reality. Brexit, reality, geography, history, geopolitics, science, religion, even maybe. I don't know. Just everything. Ethics, common sense, morals, integrity, honour. Yep, all enemies of Brexit. Andrew Rutherford said, Scottish referendum, rogue poll put nationalists ahead last week, got the union vote out. Yeah, well, once we leave the EU, Scotland's, it is just going to be like the Roadrunner in the cartoons. See you later. And it doesn't matter what kind of rocket the Wile E. Coyote of England tries to chase them with, they'll just end up splatting themselves against the cliff edge. Let's have a look. Scottish referendum. Yeah, I've said that. You'll win a unicorn. Yay! If we hit like, does Brexit go away? Yes, Patrick. If you hit like, the Brexit goes away. No one just hit like there. That was quite impressive. I think no one was believing me there. Chris Kopic saying, I'm sure my girlfriend will appreciate that, Graham. I don't know what I mentioned. Hope it wasn't the shagging away around the world thing. Pete Robbins saying, just hit the like so I win the lottery on Saturday. Sorry. Yes, Pete, if you hit the like button, you will win the lottery. Plumdorf says, I'm over 50 and can't touch my toes. And I quote Albert Camus at work. My work colleagues think I'm nut, but no one has seen the clangers. It's a very lonely existence. Hey, Plumdorf. I dropped the clanger. I don't know why you people tune in. I really don't. I don't search for baby pigeons on Google. They're pretty ugly. Okay, I won't do that. I've got one. I haven't used it yet because of COVID. I think it might make my life easier in future. Michael York. That's very good, Darren, who might have access to more Googles than I do at the moment because obviously I'm holding my phone with one hand so the microphone doesn't turn up and obviously scrolling to see your messages on the other. But if I could multitask, I would have looked that up. Michael York played Basil Exposition in Austin Powers, and he also played the main guy in Logan's Run, who ran away with Jenny Agutter, who didn't wear a bra for the whole of the film, which I didn't notice at the time, honest. Adam Curtis, Century Yourself, explains Brexit and Trump. Yeah, we talked about Adam Curtis the other day. If you want to watch some really, really good documentaries, I think nearly all of them are on YouTube, although they possibly shouldn't be. But yeah, if you check out the Adam Curtis documentary, Century Yourself, A Machine for Living In, the Hypernormalization, there's a load of them that really, really good documentaries. Oh yeah, making your sex. Oh, about making your sex life better. Sorry, Chris. She's not watching, is she? Oh God, I've got loads of messages coming in now. By tomorrow, the video has more than 17,410,742 upvotes. Brexit might go away. Yeah, Andreas, I would love that to be the case, but Ta-da! Likes just got up by 1. I'm believing more. Can I have a unicorn now? Sex life after 30, after 50, better off knitting. Oh, God. Don't say that. Oh, well, I've got 8 years and 2 months left. 3 months. Yay. Chris Kopak says, what if the Tories never allow another referendum? I don't think the Tories want to be seen as breaking up the union. Yeah, but I think that the international pressure is going to be massive on them, especially with Biden winning the election. The Americans will just say to the Tories, listen, knobheads, do this or we are going to screw you really badly. And the fact that we're putting sanctions on ourselves through what we're doing with the EU, if America leads the way in putting more sanctions on us for violating the Good Friday Agreement and for not letting Scotland have a referendum, we checkmate, mate. Checkmate, mate. There you go. Peter Joy saying, hi, Greg. Concerned about your dad. Try to look at the... Okay, it's been used. Yes, okay. I'll have a look at that, mate. At 50, life only starts and it's awesome. Only shortcoming and it also ends. What? No, you got loads of life left, man. You know, my dad's 84 next in a couple of weeks. Remember the soup dragon on the clangers? Oh my God, this is going back some. Awesome. I played the lottery tomorrow, and since now I press like, I will win. You will get your 70,000 paper flowers. Yes. That's funny. I just watched Adam Curtis's documentary on the failure of the system-based housing from 1984. That would be a really good story for one of these, you know, or maybe one in the future, just talking about housing and how these regeneration areas have been going around in this vicious circle of new council get in, or they get new people in, like, okay, we're going to make this a regeneration area and we're going to build them nice new houses. So they knock down the old houses and then they build shit houses that no one wants to live in. And so the only people who live there are people who are your council tenants. And so you don't have any mixed area of people from all different walks of life living together in the same community, and it brings down the community. And because it's substandard housing, it gets knocked down after 20 years because they haven't built it properly in the first place. And somewhere like Toxteth in Liverpool has been a regeneration area. It's been a regeneration area, a designated regeneration area since 1945. Toxteth. Madness. Okay, so it was someone from Gregory, someone and the kids, and Sound of Music. What? I'd rather have the Wombles in charge than Boris. I've got a good Womble joke somewhere. I've forgotten it. Gives us a job. Remember that? Are you talking about Yozza Hughes from Boys in the Black Stuff? I could do that. I can do that. He's walking along. Some guys, like, I think he's painting the white line on the side of a football pitch, and Yozza Hughes just following. Go, I could do that. I could do that. Gives a job. Gives a job. That's what I sound like when I go for job interviews. Galaxy Quest on Channel 5. Yes, great movie. They managed to build a shit country no one wants to live in. Yeah, that's one way of getting down immigration, though, isn't it? You can either build a wall around your country, which never works, or you can make your country so shit no one wants to live there, which is what we did. Have you seen what Trump has announced to have done? He ended an 18-year agreement with Russia, allowing overflight and disassembled the planes. What? Yeah, Russia and Trump. I mean, Trump's election was all of Putin's Christmas has come at once. I mean, and Brexit. It's just the way it put this half-mad dictator from Russia in charge of so much. It's just absolutely disgraceful. Maybe I'll do a whole episode on Putin and his nefarious history. I mean, I did one about Cummings, didn't I? So yeah, he's smashing things on the way out. He definitely is. Trump should be in prison. Yeah, plummed off. Absolutely. And the reason why he's playing for time now, short of an actual coup d'etat, is because he wants Biden to say, just stand down and I'll pardon you. And I really hope Biden doesn't do that. The original TV play is on BBC One. Might play like that. What? The original TV play of what? Trump did not like the Dominion system. Next time they will use the system from North Korea. Victory guaranteed. Turn your phone to screen always on while charging in your phone settings. I tried that, and it didn't bloody work. It still turns off after 10 minutes. It's not supposed to, but it does. Anyway, yeah. The Black Stuff. Boys from the Black stuff. Yes. Oh, sorry. Oh, it's on right now, is it? Okay, that's the one where they go and they do someone's driveway or something, and then they're going to rip the guys off. Then they get ripped off. And Alan Bleasdale, good stuff. Individual states are also after Trump. Biden can't pardon Trump for those charges. That's very true. From Daniel Jones. Did you see the BBC Guy Verhofstadt documentary back in 2018? No, I didn't, Charlie Nelson, but maybe I should. Buy a cheap external mic and plug it into your lappy. No, I've got one, but it doesn't plug into my stupid laptop. Ah! It's just, I had a big monologue about this the other day. So like, it would be nice if things just worked and you just plug your microphone in and it would just go, oh yeah, you've plugged the microphone into me. I'll use the sound from that then, but my laptop doesn't. Because it's a bit shit. Okay, right. I'm gonna have to get going, I'm afraid. But before I go, I would just like to say a massive, massive thank you to Alex, Kjartan, Alexander, BettyBiscuit, Compuart, AB, and Darren, who have been my patriots of patronage. Is that really a thing? I don't know. And they're supporting me to make these videos, and I want to continue making these videos. The idea is I'm just doing this during lockdown. But once lockdown's over, I'm thinking at 1 p.m. each day, or each weekday, I'm going to do something along the lines of an after show with for the James O'Brien show. So that be the plan. So if you'd like to see that and you'd like to see me do that, there's these tiers things on Patreon. I don't really understand it myself, but if you go on the lowest tier, it's like £8.50 a month or something. And you can stop at any time if I say something that offends you. But yeah, if you would go over there, it's patreon.com/that ginger scouser, all one word. So yeah, I'm off. So thank you very much for tuning in. And I will see you at 10 o'clock tomorrow, God willing. And until then, hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.